wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. And not yet a Happy New Year. Hi, guys. We're back with another Simply
Is there a German version of that?
Roundup? No, I don't think so. Just kidding. It might be.
She doesn't want to sing anymore.
Well, I'm a little jolly because it is the holiday season and we have a fun little episode for you. This one is trade, but it's a little bit on the fun side. We were I was inspired by this article, we were inspired by this article by Skillcast, and it was a compliance Christmas article. More so didn't have any trade, but it was kind of, how we handle Christmas spirits and whatnot in the office. And we're going to jump right into him and we're going to ask, I'm going to ask Lalo and, oh, by the way, hi guys. Well, I mean, you guys are already laughing at me, so they already heard you. So I'm just going to jump right into them. So the first one we have here is gifts that keep on taking. Beware of giving and accepting gifts in international trade. What may seem like a well-intended Christmas hamper could be construed as a bribe, especially when dealing with foreign public officials. Be aware of the regulations on bribery and corruption, such as Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, FCPA. What do you guys think? Have you guys gotten any gifts that you shouldn't have received?
So this is really popular right now in the news. Recently, I shouldn't say right now. It's always been, I guess, but recently, where congressmen or politicians have accepted gifts in favor of, let's just say, giving preferential treatment to different countries, like Egypt or, not just Egypt, but several others. So yeah, it's just something that as politicians need to be aware of, but as individuals, the same thing. So here at Global Training Center, we do sometimes do fun little competitions, and we do fun little, like when we go to ICPA, we'll give out a really cool gift, like an Xbox or whatever, that's a prize, but whatever we give out, it is very common that we have our clients that say, I cannot accept it. Can you donate it or do something else with it? Because it would seem as if they are buying our training because we are giving them gifts. You know what I mean? And so, so it goes down to that level. I know the article that you, Skillcast that you referenced, is talking about at that level, like employee level, but not in trade. So doing the trade twist, which I really like what you did on the gifts that keep on giving or taking, in this case, it's very true. You can't do that because you might import a product or you might export a product. But if you kind of gave somebody like tickets to the Super Bowl, or something that may be as innocent as that, a bottle of whiskey, a really good bottle of scotch, that costs $1,000 or whatever. It could be seen as foreign corrupt, practices. And so that's why you do need to be aware of that. And like I said, I like the way you put that in reference to trade, because that is a big deal.
Yeah. And do you have any thoughts on that? Or do you want to go? Actually, Andy, I'll give you the next one. Slaying sanctions. Okay. The glitz and glamour of the holiday season can't hide the need to comply with international sanctions and embargoes. Ensure products or services aren't destined for countries, entities, or individuals on international sanction lists. How important is this?
That's funny. Did you say slay? Like slay? Slaying,
slaying.
Like
I was
slay.
just like, okay, I the whole time I'm sitting there going back through this, I thought you said slang, kind of like, there are slang terms or something for the holidays. And I'm like, okay, this isn't working.
It's like a thing. Like my holiday.
No, I got it. That's it.
You just stripped my gears on that one, girl. I'm like, okay, let me figure this one out.
I actually have a holiday party that I'm attending next week, and it's called Slay the Night Away.
Okay,
like slay.
Nice. Okay.
So
okay, go on. So how important is it?
Well, it's just during the holidays, again, you got people that are on sanction lists. You got people that are the denied parties, restricted parties. All that comes into play at this kind of scenario here, where then you're trying to send out gifts under the pretense that it's a holiday gift or something. And so that's the kind of stuff that, you can send it out. If you don't adhere to your procedures and making sure that who you're dealing with, or, somebody may call up and say, hey, I'm buying a gift. I need you to send it to this party, whatever. So it's like a third party transaction. You're the company in the middle and you send it out there. And if that's somebody on the restricted party, denied party, or somebody that's tied up in one of the sanctions, you're the company that's going to get in trouble, not necessarily that original buyer, although they're part of the deal. So that's what I'm saying. You is it important? Oh, heck yeah. So
I figured you'd say that. We talked about sanctions a lot. The next one is Christmas compliance carol. Making seasonal modifications to your products, ? Sounds like country of origin to me, I think. Remember, any changes in product composition or source can alter its I always get country of origin and tariff classification mixed up. Does that do they intervene?
Yes, they do. You keep on going with whatever you're saying, and then
product composition or
we'll
source
explain.
can alter its tariff classification. Keep your product nomenclature and HS codes updated to avoid any customs related issues.
So yes, so really quick, and I know Andy can go into a lot more detail, but really quick, yes, a change in tariff. A change in the product can make a change in tariff because it's just not quite exactly what it used to be. For seasonal products, I think that's what you were getting at. You were getting, okay, just because it's Christmas, I have a sweater, exact same sweater, I'm going to add Christmas trees and reindeer and everything. That's what you said, something about a change in seasonal modifications to your products. That's what I got out of it. Meaning, okay, now this is a fire engine. Guess what? I colored it all green and Christmas trees and all this really cool stuff. Now it's a Christmas fire engine. I think that's what I'm getting out of, and that can change when it's a Christmas related or seasonal, or holiday related. It can totally jump into a different tariff classification. Therefore, it's a different duties.
And you're saying coloring something, right? What if the color is coming from a different country? Couldn't that be the country of origin then? Wouldn't that change?
No, so and then to your point on country of origin, real quick, I'll just say this. Sometimes you qualify for country of origin when there is a significant tariff shift or a transformation of that product, and then you're bringing it in. So yes, that could affect it. It's not so much a lot in this case, but it could be. I mean, just to throw that in, your thought process is good, and yeah, it could change.
Getting there. Okay.
Sorry, Andy, go ahead.
Yeah, Andy, can you please explain?
Well, I was just going to say is that here's something else. For example, is that you have a product that is. And maybe I'm giving a little different thing here, but it's like a product that is like a folder, or I forget the term, similar to a notebook, but it doesn't have the 3 rings in it, but it's like you put a pad in it, and you're for writing and all that. So that has a harmonized tariff number for that particular item. Then you modify that and put a case to where you can put a laptop in it, or a iPad in it, or something like that. Now it becomes a computer case with a pad or something. So that it changes the harmonized tariff. That's just an example. There's all kinds of things you can get into probably in this. So that's the harmonized tariff number. So the thing that you got to be careful of is you don't want to clear it under one harmonized tariff, and then in the 7501, when you confirm it on the back end of it, if you will, or when you file it to go on statement, is that you change the harmonized tariff number. It's like, that's not good. It's the widget is what it is. Now, the other side of that is the country of origin, as you're talking about, is once you have the classification, Anik, the harmonized tariff number, and that's a smart number, if you will. It's all those digits mean something. Is that the country of origin then will tell you what the duties and taxes are going to be, what column it is. Is it duty free? Is it lower duty? Or is it one of the, higher rate duty countries and all that kind of stuff? So that's where all that comes into play. And the key of that would be, is the country manufacturer where the product is assembled, or based on certain products. Maybe you have all kinds of products that are manufactured from a country, but then they're assembled in a second country. So country A is the country of manufacturer, or is it country B where there's a substantial transformation? There's a lot of complexities with that. So that's where all that comes into play.
Okay, got it.
Clear as mud, right?
Yeah, no, very clear. Okay, next one, and I guess the last one is Rudolph's intellectual rights. Protect Rudolph's red nose. If you're selling products that involve third-party intellectual property, ensure you've got the necessary rights to end licenses. Failure to do so can result in infringement of IP rights.
Yep. So we had a really cool episode, really close to Christmas. No, 2 weeks ago. This is Christmas. I'm sorry. Like 2 weeks ago with Jen Diaz, and she was talking about crimes. Yes. And so she very specifically had a really good example of this. And I like the way you put it, like Rudolph's intellectual rights, because yes, if somebody unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but fortunately, the intellectual rights on Rudolph and a lot of these, especially Rudolph, I think they've expired. I think Montgomery Ward used to own it, which is kind of funny, but I think they've expired or whatever. It's now public domain. I may be wrong, and please don't kill me if I'm saying something wrong, but I think that's what it is. But anyway, what she was referring to, a motorcycle or a toy that somebody imported, and they put the Harley Davidson logo on there, and thinking, well, this is going to be cool. It's going to sell really good. Well, guess what?
It's a little toy. It's
right. Guess what? You need to ask permission from Harley Davidson to use that, that logo.
Bad.
So that's what I think you're referring to or meaning. And so, yes, you got to be careful. And especially during the Christmas season, you want to make something really popular or cool or whatever, because it's seasonal, and you might decide to throw a logo on there or something or whatever, like buy a Lululemon, for example, gear and throw a bunch of Christmas stuff on it. You can't just do that. You just can't.
That's actually crazy
resell.
Because I'm sure people do that on a regular basis.
No, I'm sure,
Yeah, and that's where you can get into the knockoff type stuff, and you got to be careful, and that's why people are protected. But let me make it a little bit more personal here, because people look at it and, it's a big company or whatever. It's like, okay, let's say that there is a product that somebody makes a picture frame, and they want to have it, and it comes in, and it may be very it's a. They put a advertising type picture in the frame, so and it's sitting on the shelf. And that picture, if you come across it and you're going down and you're looking to say, yeah, I want to get a picture frame for grandma or dad or sister, brother, whatever, and you look and you find that picture frame and you're like, hey, this is cool, but you look and you notice the pictures of yourself. It's like, well, wait a minute. They're using my image. They're using a picture of me without my approval. And so it's like, all right. So there is like, if it's a standard picture frame, you'd probably look at it and go, well, it's not that big of a deal, but I wonder how they got my picture. Now, let's take it a step further. Let's say that it is a picture frame that has outlined and then say, for a good time, call, this number or whatever, or it's some suggestive thing, or, hey, see this person at the strip joint or whatever the case may be. And all of a sudden it's like, well, wait a minute, where'd that come from? You see where people can take and abuse that and, or make it look like they endorse it. Say it's a picture frame of a political candidate for a particular party, whether it's Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter, whatever. and your picture's in the midst of that, making it look like, well, you're supporting that party and that's the opposite of what you want. What are you going to do? You get your knickers in a knot over that one. So it's like, wait a minute. You can make sure that if you're importing something in, that you have the right to use the company name, person's name, or their image or their logo or whatever the case is.
Yeah, that's a really good spin, actually. Well, this is fun. This was really fun. I liked it because I feel like people maybe it's easier to understand too if you get it in a twisty way. I don't know. That's just my take. Anyways, I hope this was a fun little episode for you to kind of put trade in a little different spin, especially with the holidays and stuff. And we wish you a very merry holiday, Christmas, whatever you celebrate, really, because you might be celebrating something else, and that's totally fine. So whatever you're celebrating is amazing, and we hope you have an incredible time.
For me, Merry Christmas. There you go.
Have a great day, week. Bye.
Thank you very much for joining us. Simply Trade is brought to you by the generous contributions of Global Training Center. You can follow the show and GTC on LinkedIn or Twitter and other social networks. Make sure you check out the show notes in the description for a full rundown of today's show with all the important links. Also, make sure that you share this with a friend and subscribe on your favorite streaming platform. We really like hearing from you. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to rate and review wherever you listen to this podcast. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on the show or would like to sponsor Simply Trade or suggest any topic you would like for us to discuss, please contact us via email at simplytrade@globaltrainingcenter.com or you can DM us on Twitter at simplytradepod. Thank you again for the privilege of your time. Happy trading. Simply Trade is not a law firm or an advisor. The topics and discussions conducted by Simply Trade hosts and guests should not be considered and is not intended to substitute legal advice. You should seek appropriate counsel for your own situations. These conversations and information are directed towards listeners in the United States for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only and should not be substituted for legal advice. No listener or viewer of this podcast should act or refrain from acting on the basis of information on this podcast without first seeking legal advice from counsel. Information on this podcast may not be up to date depending on the time of publishing and the time of viewership. The content of this posting is provided as is. No representations are made that the content is error-free. The views expressed in or through this podcast are those of the individual speakers, not those of their respective employers or Global Training Center as a whole. All liability with respect to actions taken or not taken based on the contents of this podcast are hereby expressly disclaimed.